The following program may contain adult language and mature subject matter and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Welcome to Sex by Hazzard with your host, Jen Hazzard, right here, Reality Radio 101. To contact Jen live right now, dial 905-725-1907. Toll free in North America, 1-866-905-7325. Worldwide, 1-866-656-5477. Email Jen, realityradio101@yahoo.com. And now, your host of Sex by Hazzard, Jen Hazzard.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us, coming to you live from Toronto, Canada. I have a very, very special guest, and it's going to be a wonderful night. I'm sitting here. I got to tell you, there's times I love my job. I love it, love it. I am sitting here, and my wonderful guest is bringing out dishes of candy and mints and chocolate and vibrators and sex toys, too. We have with us tonight a woman that has a wealth of knowledge. She is the original... The Ask Amy. She is the advice columnist when it comes to sex, and we are going to have a lot of fun tonight. So welcome, Amy.
Oh, thank you very much. How are you?
I'm doing great. Listen, you look at all the stuff we have here.
Yeah, I brought my tickler trunk with me.
Your tickler trunk?
Yes. The tickler trunk is the essentials of sexuality.
Okay. So all the things that you would recommend every couple had or
Yeah, what we do is we go along the idea of low-end and high-end toys. Basically, we want to have the things that are the absolute essential that everybody should have in their arsenal and make sure that they carry with them at all times. And then there's the toys that might be very special. Something that, the connoisseurs of sexual vibration would want to purchase. Plus, I have some recommendations that you can use for cleaning your products.
I thought you were going to say cleaning your privates.
Oh, well.
I bet you've got stuff like...
Speaking of privates, I do have a few suggestions about things on how to take care of your privates. And I've brought a collection of things that you can get at your local sex shop. Okay. But I've also brought some stuff you can get at your local drugstore.
Very, very cool.
Because I know that not everybody is excited about going to the sex shop.
Right.
And they're a little more discreet than that. And now the drugstore has lots of really nice things for everybody to have.
I think it's a wonderful idea because, like you said, there are a lot of people that are intimidated, myself included. I wouldn't just walk in. I'd usually go with a friend.
Yeah, so you can giggle.
That's right. And pretend we're not really looking and tingling at all this stuff. And so I think it's a great idea.
Well, I brought some stuff along that you can look at, lick at, and tingle at your discretion while we're here tonight.
Very, very cool. And as you're speaking too, I've opened up. You've brought with you Lint chili chocolate.
Right.
Chili dark chocolate.
Yeah, well, the thing
I'm
is,
sticking some in my mouth.
I spent my career in the 90s was to be the sex shop girl. I worked in the sex shop girl. I worked for a fairly well-established private chain. There were about 5 shops in the general Toronto area. And we specialized. We had the largest collection of sex toys in one store of any place at the time in the 90s. And we also learned everything we could about that. But also because you have clientele that comes in to talk to you, ask you questions and things like that, you can go out to the experts and ask questions yourself. And one of the things that became a rule with our shop is you always had to have chocolate. And it always had to be dark, because the dark chocolate will stimulate you sexually.
Oh, yes.
And when you add
I can barely talk.
Yeah, you can add the chili pepper to
Oh,
it,
yes. It's
and
hot.
it tingles on your tongue, and it just gets you ready.
Oh, yes.
And it wakes up the men, and it keeps the women nice and warm.
It's fabulous. It is. It's really, really good. So I can, what a great idea, because it truly, sex is about stimulating everything, like keeping all of your senses happy and tingling and excited.
Exactly. And sex is something that everyone does from the time they reach puberty in some way, shape, or fashion, whether it's self-stimulation or whether it's having a sexual partner, to right into their 70s, 80s, and 90s, depending on how active they are sexually with the groups of people, or have a girlfriend or boyfriend, or they have their spouse still.
Yeah.
And so what I thought I'd talk about today is the subject that sometimes is taboo.
Okay.
And that's sex over 40.
Oh.
40 is all about the orgasm. Folks have had the experience. They know about intimate touch and petting, but definitely women are all about the orgasm over 40. No holds barred. It needs to happen, and preferably more than once.
Yes.
If she has to fake it, you won't be getting a second chance. And she is liable to smack talk you right back to your inner child.
So true.
The arsenal must be large for mature sex. But the arsenal needs to be new and personal for each partner. No saving shit from the last bed partner to use with the new gal. And if you choose to have multiple partners, then you need to have a tickler trunk for each of them.
Do you know what? I have actually had the same thing. A partner wanted to use a sex toy used with this, and it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
It's a turn off both emotionally and sexually.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
That's like using somebody's toothbrush.
I know.
Or their tweezers.
Yeah.
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 No. It's like wearing somebody else's underwear. You just don't do it.
No, that's right.
No. That's gross. It's just to think too, you have no idea as the partner walking in if they're gonna have cleaned everything properly.
Oh, for sure.
And God knows what kind of fungus is growing on that stuff.
Or if the battery's worn out or leaking. Or...
Oh, and nothing worse than a half-ass battery.
No kidding.
Oh, my gosh.
No kidding.
You have the thing to turn on and goes... What the hell's that going to do?
Yeah. I was at a sex show a while ago and bought myself a toy. And literally, it broke before it had finished its very first job.
Yeah.
And wait, when it was about to finish that very first job.
And it's like, oh, crap.
No kidding.
Where's the spoon?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you get to the point where, you have to think about that. Economics is one thing, but in the same sense, you want it to last. So what I've done is sort of tried and true tested products. Over the years when I was in the sex shop business, there was a lot of things that I came across that I thought were awesome.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you a few hints on how to keep everything going well.
Okay.
The number one thing about your sex toys, if they don't have a rechargeable battery that comes with them,
right,
you must use a non-alkaline battery.
Okay.
Or else you burn it out and it's done.
Okay.
Kaboom.
Okay.
So non-alkaline battery is very important. And funny enough, those are the cheapy-cheaps.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's the most important thing.
Okay.
So, I've got a little thing here.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to open. It's all sealed up. And in the end,
is it going to pop at me?
Well, I'm not sure.
Do I have to suck on it to get it to open?
No, you don't have to. There's a little peely line here where there's an arrow, and you peel down on it.
I peel down.
Okay.
I've
So
peeled
what
down
Jen has in
before.
her hand is a present for Gary.
Oh, a present for Gary. Did you hear that, Gary?
A present for Gary.
Okay, now I think I am having trouble.
What
Look at
is
this.
it?
Peel down.
Peel down.
It's an egg.
With a
Okay,
condom in
okay,
it?
I think I've got it now. Just keep peeling,
No.
right?
Yeah. Okay.
And just
So
open
the
it like
egg
this?
is a wonderful product. It's
It looks like
it's
an
a
egg.
stimulation product,
Okay.
and it can be used for the boys and the girls.
Okay.
Okay, so open her up. Ooh.
Oh, wow. What a surprise.
Ah.
It's like soft and jelly-like.
Yeah, it's called New Skin.
Do you know what it reminds me of? Is that those things you get in the dollar store with the ball in the center and you sort of jiggle it up and down. Like it feels like that sort of texture. Right?
Yes, yes.
Very, very
it's like a
soft.
mini stress ball.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look at her. Okay. So inside the middle, there's a little sleeve. And in that little sleeve, this is so you can dry it, by the way.
Okay.
In the little sleeve, they give you a little sample of lube.
Are you serious?
I am serious. You always get freebies with this stuff. Now, gently put your finger inside there.
Ooh. Oh, it's all like bumpy and stuff.
It's ribbed. This
What?
one is wave ribbed. So
Now,
it's
is
like
it-
waves of water. So if I turn it inside out, you can see what it looks like.
Wow.
See that?
Yeah, little bumps everywhere.
Okay. So you can imagine Gary putting that on the end of his penis, right?
Okay.
Now it's turned inside out. All those
But does-
waves are on the outside, so his honey gets all the stimulation.
Wow, eh?
If he wants all the stimulation, he turns it this way.
Wow. And then it rubs against his
It
thing.
rubs against
See, I
him.
shouldn't be having a sex show. I just don't know enough. Eh? That is so cool.
And then when he wants
Gary?
to wash it,
Would you
What
put,
is that
Are you,
for?
now that I've fondled that, are you going to
Yeah.
put it on your penis?
it's
would.
okay. We'll
What
wash
is
it.
it?
It's called an egg.
Yeah.
Weren't you listening?
No. What is it? Is it a sex toy?
Yes.
Yes.
You put it on, it's soft, right? And you
Yeah.
put it on your penis, and it's
Yeah.
ribbed one way and the other, depending whether who gets the fun parts.
So that would go
Look.
on like a condom, though, and
No.
it's
No, it could
On
go
your
on
penis?
the end of your penis.
yeah, okay, like
Like a
slipping
sleeve.
it on. Okay.
Yep. And see, look.
What happens
Turn-
if it comes? Oh wow, that's cool. What happens
Yeah.
if it comes out while you're having sex? Like if it falls off and you wouldn't want it to go into the woman and stay in
It's
there.
okay. We can talk about how she can get it out.
Yeah, I know.
There
what
is
it
a way.
Yes, I was going to say,
There is
Gary.
a way. There's always a way.
I get
You
you.
just sort of squirt it out, right? Like women, we've got muscles in there.
Yeah.
You just sort of like maneuver
Well,
it
what's that
down
called?
and
Just-
spit it out.
It's called the
The
egg.
and
It
it's made for that purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not for Easter.
No.
Okay.
No, and the egg has different stimulants on it. So this is the wave one that looks like a wave of water, but there's a triangle one that's got little scaly bumps.
hmm
And there's one that's lines, and there's ones that's a swirl.
Could Jen use that on her cucumber?
She could use that on her cucumber.
All right.
Yes, you could
So-
put it on a vibrator for sure, right?
Absolutely.
Slip it over
so
the end.
basically, I've got a vibrator here.
A purple one that reminds me of a genie.
Yes.
We got this one here.
Oh, yeah, Gary's good old teal one.
Oh, Gary, come on, let's hear your vibrator, Gary. Okay, now
Look
that's
at-
no vibrator, baby.
Yeah.
This is a vibrator.
Let me see that one. Then. Yeah, baby.
Whoa.
Wait, your
Oh, yeah.
case is in the way. I can't see that. Move that. Holy crap! Was
Oh,
that a
yeah.
black dude?
Yeah, this
Wow.
is an onyx. The one
An
I've
onyx.
got in my hand here.
Yeah.
It's big.
This is a rechargeable with a USB recharger.
Oh, wow.
Is that a new one, or did
Oh
you use
yes,
that
this.
already?
No, I haven't used any of this.
Okay.
My friends at the
I
stag
have.
shop, my
Mhm.
friends at the stag shop were kind enough to,
Yeah.
supply me with this lovely stuff
Very
for
cool.
today.
It looks like a microphone.
Wow.
It does, doesn't it?
We should put that on Jen's mic stand.
Yeah.
So this lovely vibrator, the Onyx. Let me turn this other little vibrator.
And get
off.
it, Onyx Black.
Yes.
For you people who don't know what Onyx is.
Yeah.
So the Onyx is the industrial toy. It has a universal application. It's a sex toy, massage thumper, and the internal vaginal stimulator.
Oh.
This baby is a mini fister.
Oh, wow.
A mini fister.
Yes, it is.
What does that mean? Like
And it's called the Midnight Wand by Onyx. Okay, so basically what this is designed for is complete G-spot stimulation.
Yes, the
Okay.
G-spot. The
You
scary
notice
spot.
how wide this is compared to this little baby
No,
G-spot
okay.
stimulator here?
Amy, I've got to ask a stupid question. Which end goes up?
Which end goes up?
Which end goes up?
This end goes up. So we
Okay.
have this big bulbous black
Jen
end
couldn't
here
know
that
that.
looks like a big
No.
giant mushroom with ribs.
Well, see, and I would have put the other end up.
This one.
It looks gentler.
Mike might use that
you
to pick
don't
his
want
nose.
it to be gentle, baby.
Oh, I don't know. Look at it.
Oh, no,
Look
no,
at it, Amy.
no. When it comes to fisting, there's something that needs to be done.
Okay.
Okay? That vagina needs to be pushed to its limits.
No, I don't like fisting.
Yeah.
That's terrible, man. It's like having a kid.
That's
on.
exactly why it's good.
No,
There is a
I
point-
delivered kids. No, man,
There
that's
is a
not.
point during the delivery of the baby that there's an absolute pleasure, and that's what you're reliving.
Okay.
The absolute pleasure. And this is stimulating right up in the G-spot near the cervix, and you push it around, and it's pushing the vagina to its limits.
Oh, it hurts just thinking about that. It's like, look at the size of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
I
if you
know,
don't
man.
want to use it as a fister,
Uh-huh.
it's a great testicle stimulator.
Yes,
Oh.
could I have that when you leave?
Yeah. Hey, I'll fight you for
Is
it.
that my
Actually,
gift?
No.
Remember, you have to supply Christmas gifts. Oh.
Oh.
Put that up to your mic and do that.
Yeah,
Is
put
that-
it closer.
Oh.
Hi,
Oh, wait,
can
keep
you
it
hear
right there.
Can you hear that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, baby.
Oh, my goodness. Oh. Ow.
We're vibrating the muffs. Last night, my muff on the show had a little like thread in it that kept tickling my mouth. So I had to change my muff in the middle of the show. So this one here, now we're vibrating the muffs.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So the nice thing about this is a testicle stimulator. If you want to use this vibrator, those little ridgy parts there on the side,
Yeah.
to vibrate at the base of the penis on the underside,
Okay.
right near the testicle. You just sort of gently massage there.
So between the balls and the testicle.
No, between the penis and the
The
scrotum.
Right.
Okay.
By the way,
I don't understand
Amy,
where that is.
Yeah.
when you turn that on up to the mic, Mike Kalenko had his first hard on in 26 years. It was very good. Thank you for that.
Does
His wife's
Mike
going
need
to
a
love that.
candy to go with it?
Mike needs a lot of things, but we won't talk about that.
Okay, we have a problem here. I don't understand where it goes.
Ooh, let me
Okay.
show you.
Yeah. Oh, there. Okay.
So here's the
explains
penis,
it.
right?
Yeah.
We've got our little vibrator up as a demo.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's your erect penis. We'll give him a little upward head.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the testicles here, right?
Underneath.
Hanging down
Okay.
below.
Yeah.
So at the base of the penis, just on the underside.
Okay.
Okay,
Like away
right.
from the other side of the belly button, then.
Yes, you're on the
Okay.
underside of the penis.
Okay.
Near where the scrotum starts to attach.
Okay.
You stimulate right there. And if you touch that with your finger, you'll
Yep.
notice that there's a solid ridge there,
Okay.
like a tendon or
'Cause
something.
I think that was like I would think most guys would jump at that.
No, that's a really important place.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to learn.
When they
things.
thrust,
No wonder I'm single.
when they
still.
thrust, that hits real hard to our perineum, that muscle.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right?
That
And
makes
that's
sense.
where they get a real good jump in their stimulation.
Okay, that makes more sense.
The other thing is, if you do it very gently, you can stimulate the boy very nicely down there by massaging that area
Okay. Like
very
with your hand,
gently.
I'll-
Yeah, just like
if
you're
you didn't have-
kneading it gently downwards.
downwards. Okay.
Yeah, so kind of like milking a cow.
Yeah, okay, I can do
Gently,
that. I know
very
that.
gently.
Yeah, I know that.
And then make a ring with your fingers and grasp that area around the around the scrotum, letting the testicles hang
Okay, yeah.
below your hand.
Yeah.
And if you hold on to that and stimulate the penis with your hand, they cannot come.
Oh, seriously?
Mm-mm. So then you give them a super orgasm when you let go.
Isn't that, that's a great tip for, because premature ejaculation, like I know that's obviously something that a couple could use.
Absolutely. So, I mean, there's other ways to do that little act sort of mechanically, like with a cock ring.
Because I was going to say, not all balls hang down far enough to grab, right?
That's why you have to massage it. You can knead it down enough.
Some balls, no matter how much you massage them, are not going to hang down far enough to get your fingers around it. They'll scream.
Well, those are the guys that might need the cock ring.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so
and I have not seen one. First of all, again, it's purple.
Oh, yeah.
A beautiful color, and it's big.
Oh, yeah. This baby's big, and it's firm. You want to touch it?
Oh, yes, it is. It's tingling, too, eh? And look at the nubbies.
Yeah, it's got nubbies on it.
The penis, it goes in the penis like that, then?
Okay, so what can happen is you have two options with this baby. You can hang it on the penis.
Okay.
So it hangs down.
Yeah.
The little vibrator on the penis ring hangs down.
Okay.
Okay.
So that would get your ass then.
No, that would get his testicles.
See, I'm dyslexic, eh?
Yeah.
that's a whole problem.
So this is actually for the boy.
Okay.
When it's down here, or you could turn it this way and have it so it's kind of pointing towards his testicle.
Okay,
so the little
now.
vibrators on, there's a cock ring with a vibrator hanging off the bottom of it, and it's a wireless vibrator, and it's hanging towards the testicle.
Okay.
And it every time he goes in, it's hitting his testicle. See that?
Yeah.
Okay, and it's stimulating that whole area that gives them all jumpiness. But if he wants to help you, he puts it over his penis.
So sort of like against his belly, I guess, eh?
Yeah, at the base, at his lower, below his belly button.
Right, okay.
So it's on his penis, so the vibrator is up on top of his penis pointing towards you.
Okay.
And then when he shoves it in, he stimulates your clitoris.
Okay, and then what about, can you still use that if you're riding on top then?
Oh, sure.
I guess if anything, you'd have
and
more control,
if you
right?
want to get a little exciting.
Yeah.
I don't know if this little ring will be, no, this ring won't stretch enough. You could take another jelly cock ring.
Okay.
And wrap the vibrator around the penis and attach it with a jelly ring. So now it's got two anchors to the penis.
Okay.
And when he thrusts, it will partially insert in the vagina.
Okay. I get it.
I get so he gets his whole shaft stimulated, and you get the top of your vagina stimulated.
That is very cool.
Yeah, and
I could also see that being then for a man that had a smaller penis. That would also help to probably enhance the sensation there, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, because it's not the size; it's what you do at the door.
That's right,
and that's so true.
Oh yes,
I mean, most women would like to have 3 or 4 orgasms before the guy ever penetrates her at any given time, but of course, that's not always the case. But the over 40 women are definitely going to try to make that happen. Because they're not wasting their time. If they're, washing the sheets and they're making the bedroom all pretty and they're getting the makeup on and doing all that stuff to get ready to have a hoochie night, they definitely want to make the 5 hours of work they did beforehand worth it.
Now, ask Amy. Tell us about her.
Amy. Well, I started out as the lowly sex shop girl. And then I became quite an expert on all the toys. We had 800 different toy products in our shop, and I had to learn about every single one of them.
Wow.
Then what happened, there were urologists and stuff that would come and see me to look at products to see what they could recommend to their patients.
Oh.
So then they would teach me what they were recommending to their patients, and then they would say, could I send my patients in? And then they would send their patients in, and then with a paper and almost a prescription. Cool. And then I would help them pick out what they needed. So we had everybody from 18-year-olds on their first, sexual adventures to people that were, 80 years old that, were post-prostate surgery that really wanted to have some fun.
Right.
And I really liked the job because doing this job, everybody walked away with a smile on their face.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
I did learn a lot because I had to listen a lot to people who had very interesting fetishes. So I had to learn about these fetishes, not to be sort of aghast by what they had to say.
Right.
And that kind of drew me into a different world. Because we were marketing to the sex industry as well.
Right.
Because there's always leather and S&M products in shops. I had to learn about Dungeons, S&M, and that kind of thing.
Right.
Plus, we also carried a lot of clothes for strippers. So that meant we had to learn about vinyl and leather and how to and rubber and how to take care of all this stuff and what they would use it for and whether it was resilient for like a stage show or it wasn't.
Now I tell you, one of my experiences, I went to a sex shop quite a few years ago, and I didn't know you had to put powder on your body before you put on the rubber.
Oh.
And I tried on a rubber top, and let me tell you, it was not attractive.
Mm-hmm.
The way it pushed me and zigzagged me, and like things were all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
It was not attractive.
Mm-hmm.
Was it just the one that I chose, or is there a trick to it? Or
it's possibly the one you chose. There's usually about 3 or 4 different levels of quality of products for that genre. And if you get into the lower sort of Halloween costume-like genre, then it's not going to fit very well. Okay. But then there's a latex product that is completely form-fitting to the skin and everything, and it's amazing.
Okay.
And it actually is quite resilient, but it's very expensive as well.
Yeah.
As far as the products like that I would sell, I would prefer to sell people leather.
Right.
Leather products were always flattering. Mm-hmm. They're always easy to take care of. Mm-hmm. And if you take care of them properly, they can be waterproof. So if you're out somewhere at a party and something spills on it, it's already waterproof, so you're okay.
Right.
Also, the leather products, most of the leather products that I was familiar with and sold were made here in Canada.
Oh, very good.
And I was really happy about that. They were actually made fairly locally. They were made in Pickering.
Oh, very good.
Mm-hmm. And I was really happy with that stuff. The quality of it, it seemed to fit the clients well, and we never had any strange variances in sizes and stuff.
Okay.
So we had that whole, all those kind of clothes and things like that people would buy. And then I noticed that there was something very interesting that I got exposed to.
Okay.
And that was cross-dressers.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't even think about it. It wasn't part of my rationale in my world. You know, I came from a pretty straight-laced household. I had my virginity until I was 17. You know, it was like, this is like, it was all out in left field for me.
A whole new world.
Yeah, and I wasn't really exposed to cross-dressing at all. I didn't really know much about it. And I got exposed to a lot of cross-dressers. And in doing so, I really wanted to understand what this was all about, because when I got asked to do the Amy column, I realized I had enough expertise from my time at the shop to answer almost any question, but not on cross-dressing.
Oh, okay.
So what I did is I contacted a really famous cross-dresser named Roxy Wildside. And Roxy used to be seen on the Mike Bullard show.
Yes, yes, I remember her.
So Roxy became a really close friend of mine. And once in a while, we would write a byline together. And I said, would you help me anytime I have a cross-dresser question that I can't seem to answer? And Roxy said, sure. So it turned into Roxy inviting me for Thanksgiving dinner. We went down, and we ended up becoming like best friends. Roxy's wife was amazing. She had created this cross-dressers club in Toronto called the Wild Side. Take a walk on the Wild Side.
Okay.
And it was an amazing place. So they took me under their arm and they really showed me the ropes, what it was all about.
Very cool.
And I ended up to be probably a huge spokesperson for cross-dressing and transgendered people.
Very good.
I made so many close friends as being a member of Wildside. And what I did at Wildside is helped with the transformations.
Okay.
So when people wanted to learn how to dress like a woman, how to put on makeup and stuff like that, I would be there to help them figure out how to do that.
Okay.
And then...
now, I have to interrupt you there for a minute, Amy. The cross-dressers and transgender people, they've been way better at putting on makeup than I am. Like, do they really need lessons?
Well,
Wouldn't it be something they would experiment with quite a bit as, probably hidden type
you
thing?
would have thought.
Yeah.
The drag queens, yes.
Okay.
But most of the cross-dressers were normal heterosexual males
Right.
that had families and were hiding their lifestyle.
Okay,
So what was happening is they had no place to go to have their first experience.
right.
So that was what Wildside was all about.
Okay.
Wildside is this wonderful place on Gerrard in Toronto. And what happens is people can go there and learn how to dress. And they get a photo shoot and they
very
get
cool.
glamored and they get wigs, like they can try on wigs.
Very cool.
And they even get to choose a girl name
Very cool.
for their alter ego. And it gives them a safe place to be able to transition and to try this out without being in danger.
Right.
Because the city is a dangerous place for a farm boy that comes from, Sudbury for his first experience as a cross-dresser.
Right.
I mean, that's the city itself is crazy, and when you go into the community where the cross-dressers are accepted, it's a little high-end. Like, there's a lot of things happening.
So Wildside is still open then?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So it's something you can go just once for the experience, or you
Right.
can go on a regular basis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can become a member and then, take part in all the different activities they do.
Oh, okay.
They do outings and everything.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. One of the things that I've learned from, people that I've talked to, the socialization is so important. The acceptance, I guess, being together as a group, probably there would be a certain amount more safety and comfort.
We used to do a lot of things like when I was doing it with them, because I don't do it anymore. I'm kind of in the retirement mode now.
Okay.
But in those days, in the 90s, when we were doing this really frequently, we would book restaurants and stuff. And we'd go as a big group and go sit in a sit-down fancy restaurant, and the girls would be glammed up to the max.
Very cool.
And they would get to, try out all of their girly moves. And be a bunch of girls yakking around at the table, eating dinner, enjoying themselves. If they wanted to go dancing after, great.
Yeah, and I can see there's so much need for that type of thing in our community.
Yeah, yeah.
Just showing people, it does whoever you are, whatever you are, not to be intimidated to show that, and just to, I can't even begin to picture and imagine just the relief it must be for them to be able to be themselves and create joy in their life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, what about are there many women cross dressers?
There are some. What I understand and what I seem to notice is that women don't have a problem with being androgynous.
Right. Yes.
So if they're lesbian and they tend to slide towards the male,
right,
and they're happy being a female, but they want to slide towards the male, they'll be butchy and they'll be very happy about it.
That's right.
If they're not happy in their body, then they wouldn't be a cross-dresser. They would be transgendered. So they're suffering from gender dysphoria.
Okay.
And men suffer from gender dysphoria as well.
Okay.
And the idea is you're a woman, a man, born a heterosexual man or a man, maybe not heterosexual, but yeah, a genetic man.
Right.
You've been born a man, but you feel that you're a woman inside.
Right.
That you were hardwired to be a woman. And in the case of women, you're a woman born a genetic female, but you realize that you're hardwired to be a male.
Right.
So what happens in those situations is that a lot of choices have to be made, and it's very difficult to make those choices. The younger you are when you start the process, the easier it is.
Okay.
Because the person then has no identity as an adult,
Right.
as their gender.
Right. Makes sense, right?
Especially, the reality is most transgender transformations, so the surgical transformation, sexual reassignment surgery happens in patients over 40.
Okay.
So what happens is most of the time those people have already married and tried to live a normal heterosexual life as a male or a female and have had a family and everything. And there's so much shame involved in hurting their family members that they think of all different things to put them, they realize that they have to transition.
Right.
They realize that now their psyche is just not happy, they're depressed, they're having problems, they're coping with life, and they're showing all signs of, all the outward signs of depression, and all of the things that they hate about their body are bubbling to the surface.
I would think, like, it makes perfect sense. In your 40s, you're more sure of yourself. And I think, as you grow older, it's like, I'm going to be true to myself now. I'm going to do what I need to do to be happy.
It starts out that they always think, well, when my parents pass away, it'll be so much easier. I won't have to hurt their feelings. Right. And then it gets to the point where they realize, I can't wait that long.
Right.
And then they start hearing from other people what it's really like to do this older. And it's very, emotional. And they start realizing, maybe I should be thinking about doing this. And I've heard stories from, I'm going to plan my death. I'm going to fake my death.
Wow.
So my family thinks I'm gone, and I'm just going to resurface as a new person.
Wow.
This is how extreme it can get.
Wow. Again, I can't picture that, but just the hardship there, I can just... I think it's wonderful. I know a few friends that are very accepting of transgender partners. And I think it's wonderful the way that we're going, the way it is more talked about. For instance, this show is important, and the way it's talked about, and the way that we're accepting more and more in society, and raising more and more awareness for it as well.
Yeah, and so I got highly involved in the gay, transgender, and lesbian community. I was fortunate enough to do a lot of fundraising for 519 Church, which is a community center geared to the gay and transgender youth.
Right.
So I was really happy about being able to work with that. So it really took me on this journey that I never expected, and I ended up going off and driving a truck.
Oh wow!
After I left the sex shop.
Wow.
And I actually...
From fucking to trucking.
I know, fucking to trucking. So what happened is because I met somebody who was transgendered, who was going through transition.
Right.
And really needed a female trucking partner.
Okay.
And I thought, I can do this. I can do this.
Yes.
And I did.
Yeah.
And it was a very rewarding career.
Okay.
Extremely rewarding. Now my partner did finally go and get their sexual reassignment surgery.
Okay.
And they got to live as a woman.
Very good.
Unfortunately, they had some medical complications that were over and above their surgery. And they passed away 2 years after becoming a woman.
Aww. And
it's kind of sad because they never got to experience having a complete, full relationship as a woman.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the saddest part of the story. It can, through all of the work and all of the toil and all the time and saving your money to be able to prepare to have this surgery that's going to keep you off work for a very long time.
How much does the surgery itself cost?
Actually, the surgery is covered under OHIP.
Oh, very good.
Yes,
So
but
in Ontario, it's covered then.
well, yes, but this and in Montreal, in Quebec, and on the East Coast.
Okay.
I can't remember every province, but it's possible all the provinces have it.
Very good.
At one time it wasn't covered,
Right.
and people were having to go all over the world for surgery.
Yeah.
And the surgeons that everybody seems to like the most are in Montreal.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just looking at the time, and we've got something. Gary. Hello, Gary.
I'm here.
Yes, you've just been quiet.
I'm listening to everything,
Yeah.
including the boys. And are we gonna?
We're getting ready now. Okay, Amy.
Mhm.
Tell me about. Give me some. You lead into this.
Into this.
Yes.
You talking about the story?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. So, Amy also was the author of the Amy Papers.
Okay.
And the Amy Papers were a series of erotic letters
Okay.
that were written. It was like short stories that were written in the form of erotic letters. And they were released in the 90s. And so because you have this story proponent to your show,
Yes.
when I said I'd come on, I thought I would write a special story for you guys.
Oh, very cool. Very, very cool.
So
Just for us.
you get to be Amy-fied.
Oh, Amy Fly.
Amy-fied.
Yes. Amy
Yes,
Fly, yeah.
it's always the
Sort of like
Amy-
de-virginized by Amy.
Yes,
type-
it's the Amification.
Yeah. Okay, do you want the background music to go with it? We've got the normal.
How sexy is that background
it's
music?
sexy.
Because this story is hot.
How sexy is it, Gary?
Baby, it's so hot. I change the wires on that deck every week.
Oh, yeah.
after I play. You ready for it?
Sure.
Okay, here we go.
The Scales of Balance. It was so dark, the rain beat down so hard that any light from the doorways and streets was not enough to cut through the veil. As he walked through the alley, he sensed he was being watched. He never saw anyone when he looked around. He proceeded with caution to his destination, the third door from the far end of the alley. He had it lit with a fun chartreuse green light bulb. He prided himself on being so nonconformist. 40 more steps and he would be home. Most didn't like the alley. He loved it. It was like his tunnel to sanctuary, quiet and private. The apartment behind the front door was so awesome. A 2-level, very broad and deep dwelling. The main level was an open concept with a large living room, dining room, and kitchen with laundry. 3 walls of the perimeter, floor to ceiling Gothic bookshelves. The second floor was loft-like, big enough for his king-size bed and dressers and a grand wall for his stereo system and TV and video stuff. The loft had a window that overlooked the river. The moonlight shone in. There were no opposing neighbors, so it was like his own private waterfront view. The bathroom was huge, all marble and heated floors, and sported a huge hot tub as well as a giant shower, the perfect bachelor pad. 10 more steps and he would be home to his sanctuary. Suddenly, something so soft touched him, so fleeting. He saw something whiz by so fast, it was like he was seeing smoke fly by, yet it did touch him. It not only touched him, it caressed him. In a blink, he saw some small figure drift into a large fan vent of the next door building. He ran fast to get to it. As he got closer, he could not believe what he saw. He swore he saw a small, spiny tail slip into the darkness of the large pipe. He leaned in to see what it was. As his face got closer, a long, forked tongue gently licked him from chin to nose. It was so gentle and soft, it made him shiver. He did not know how to act. Should he be frightened? He was kind of turned on. He said quietly, "Hey." Then he took a step back. As he moved away from the hole, a tiny head emerged from the darkness. She was beautiful. Her skin was iridescent. Little flecks of light reflecting off the pouring rain sparkled and flashed upon her skin. Her nose was quite long, but her eyes were huge and so beautiful. The green within them was complex, with several tones and hues. Everything about her glowed. His heart was gripped. He could not imagine this could ever have happened to him. He wanted to touch her. He wanted to kiss her. He wanted her. He put out his hands and said, "Would you like to come with me? My home is that door over there. Let's get out of the rain." She spoke. "Yes, I hope you would ask me. I need you." She leapt into his arms. She was so small and petite. She was easy to carry. She was also so soft. She nuzzled into his chest as he walked along. She was so warm and smooth. He never imagined she could feel this way. As he reached the door, she became alert as she rested there in his arms. As he released the lock with the key and the handle turned with a click, she straightened up. He slowly opened the door and nudged the light with his elbow. She stretched her neck and peered into the room curiously while taking a long, deep sniff. Then she relaxed and struggled to set herself free from his gentle grip. She slid to the floor and slowly walked around, discreetly inspecting the dwelling. The feelings he had as he watched her flow around the room in a breezy, ghostly fashion amazed him. He was short of breath. He was tingling, and his mind was so focused on just her. He wanted to touch her. He wanted to kiss her. He could not figure out how he could make love to her. He collapsed onto the sofa, flopping in absolute relaxation as he watched her explore his space. She felt like she fit. She seemed happy. It was so strange and so weird. How could this be? He struggled internally with all of this that had transpired. He was not this spontaneous. Why her? Who was she? He could hear her exploring the loft. He closed his eyes for a second to regroup his thoughts, trying to figure out what he was going to do about all this, when suddenly she pounced on him. On all fours, she pinned him down on the couch on his back. He slowly opened his eyes. "I really need you," she said. "You have no idea how long I've watched you. I know you're the one who can help me." "How can I help you?" he said. "I don't even know exactly what or who you are." She said with a tear in her eye, "I'm not exactly what I seem. My name is Tila. I'm 29 years old. I'm from a place called Moss. I don't know how I got here, but I've been here quite a while. I've had to hide away for fear of being caught or killed. I don't belong here. Whatever happened when I came here changed my abilities somehow, and I can't come back to who I was, and I'm hoping you can help me." He didn't want her to leave. If he helped her, he wanted her to stay. He was instantly in love with her and wanted her with him, so he decided to strike a bargain. If I help you, will you promise to stay with me? I'm in love with you. I feel that the feeling was instant and I cannot bear being without you. I will stay if you promise to love me no matter what, because the help I need from you could change me into something you hate. The bargain is for me, no matter what. He stared at her. Sheening skin, her long nose and huge nostrils, her huge sheepish eyes, her soft arms and legs, and her long spiny tail. This tiny little dragon, not so pretty, yet compellingly beautiful. I promise, was his answer. She drew her face close to his and whispered, You need to make love to me. I am a shapeshifter and I am stuck in my dragon. I need to be back in human form. You need to draw out the human in me. Please make love to me. He moved his arm from her grip and grasped the back of her neck and drew her in for a long, deep kiss. The serpent tongue curled around his and engaged him. He kissed her deeper and deeper. So every so often her tongue broke free from his lips and caressed his cheek. He was so hard. He thrust his jeans against her body in a heavy thrust, rubbing himself against her. This time the kiss was even more intense. His head began to swim. He could not think. He was engaged in this, and it was only going to end one way. He caressed her neck, massaging it intently while pulling her closer and closer to him. Her head began to move from side to side as she kissed him so deeply, swaying to every one of his movements. He felt something brushing his hand as he kissed her. He felt soft and light, like spider webs across the back of his hand. He was so enthralled by his desire that he could not even look to see what it was. Suddenly, she began to undo his shirt buttons. He reached to caress her body and felt her chest. She had ripe breasts, and her nipples were so hard. He opened his eyes and looked into her eyes. She had become a woman. Soft alabaster skin, long dark hair, and green eyes. Her face was tiny and round like a cherub. Her breasts were so round and so wonderfully soft. Her nipples responded to every nuance of his touch. She undid his pants, then broke away from his grasp to slide his bottoms off completely. She kneeled over him, completely naked. Her body was flawless. He was so erect. She eased herself over him and pressed her moist sex against him until his penis slid into her. She purred as she took him to the hilt. He drew a staggered breath, enjoying the ecstasy of the penetration. She slowly moved upon him, allowing his penis to thrust in and out at a smooth, calm pace. She leaned in to kiss him once again. So long, so deep and passionately, so wanting. His heart was racing. He began to ram back at her, thrusting hard until she began to breathe so fast. He thrust her to the hilt and balanced her on his groin as he grasped her and held her in place as he rolled over, laying her so small body down upon the sofa. Pushing her knees up, he thrust her faster and faster as he rolled one thumb over the nub of her clit so gently The fluid flowed from her as she moved so much. She panted, trying to hold back the orgasm a little longer. She began to shake a little. Then he thrust harder and harder. She felt him inside swelling larger and larger. Then the head of his penis got so big it pressed that place. She began to spasm, her pelvis contorting as her sex gripped him like a tiny hand. Then he erupted within her. At the moment they both wailed in ecstasy. And a pause of unknown time passed as they drank in the sensation. He rolled, collapsing on the sofa, snuggling her. Between labor breath, she spoke, so soft and so sweet, with a humble lilt. Thank you so much. I am such a perfect dragon, yet such an imperfect human.
Wow, that was sexy.
You need more chocolate now?
Yeah. Well, I've been sucking on the penis mints through
Could
the
I
whole
borrow
thing.
that
It's like-
vibrator?
yeah. Yeah.
He needs his egg.
Very creative. Wow, Amy, that was wonderful. I bet you loved writing the advice column in the Amy papers as well, right?
It was a wonderful time for me. It was I'm really so not the characters that I write.
Yeah. I'm sure. But still, it was just very, very good. Interesting being on the listening end for a change too, and it's like I didn't blush quite as much, but it was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know we've only got a few minutes left, but what else do you want to show from the tickler trunk or talk about or?
Oh, okay. So the one thing
I'm still kind of okay, flustered and tingling.
the one thing I want to put out there to the ladies is something that you can get at the pharmacy.
Right.
As we get older, things get a little drier down there and it's not exactly perfect. And if you don't want to take hormone replacement therapy, you definitely need a little help down there on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
So I wanted to let you know about a product that's in the pharmacy called Replens Gel, and
Okay.
it comes in 3 consistencies. One is a light consistency, one is and one's a medium, and one's a heavy. And what these are gels that go deep up into the vagina and they stay there. And what they're supposed to do is they sit inside the vagina and they keep it really nice and moist, and they also stimulate the glands to continue to produce its own lubrication.
Oh, you're kidding.
And so it helps you stay clean, and it helps you stay moist, and it helps your glands stay intact. So
is it like a tablet you put up?
it's there's a little applicator, and you put this little the liquid is it's like the gel is in a tube, and you can
And just
pull
right
the
up.
applicator
Okay, yeah.
and sort of draw out a little bit of the gel to a certain amount and push it in.
Oh, very cool.
So this is what I recommend for every woman over 40 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is we've got these lovely lubes, and I'll tell you, lubes are an essential part of sex for sure. Some people like to use them when they're younger. Most people have to use them when they're older. And the one thing I have to say is don't be thinking that you can go and use the Mazola oil like you heard from so-and-so in the back 40 at some point. You can't do that.
I heard it's not good for you.
No, number 1 is going to clog up those little glands.
Okay.
Number 2, it's an oil product, and depending on what kind of oil that you're using in your household, it could be a petroleum product, and all of those will break down any toys that you use.
Oh, okay.
They will break down condoms.
Okay.
So if you're using condoms, that's not a good thing. So I recommend a good lube. Now this one I got here in front of me is the H2O Joe. And the Joe lubes are awesome. They have different flavors, and they have plain. But have yourself a little taste of this. It's called Peachy Lips.
Oh, very cool.
So just
Let me just squirt it on my...
you might be able to squeeze the bottle.
See, it's one thing.
Squeeze the bottle.
Squeeze the bottle. All right. See if I can get this out
Be
here.
Be careful, because you might
not
get a whole
like
load
warm.
of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not gonna warm up in my hand, is it?
God knows.
Got the warming stuff. Let's try that now. Oh wow. It reminds me of peach schnapps.
Peach schnapps.
Doesn't feel greasy. I was expecting more of a greasy taste.
No, it's thick, but it has a looseness to it. It's very viscose.
Yeah.
And viscose is so important, and it has to keep viscose. Now, God bless KY. They've been around forever, and they created KY jelly. But darn if that stuff is not viscose. That stuff that you use it to thrust and it turns into paper.
Right.
It just doesn't work. This stuff stays viscose, so it stays slippery. It's like you just put a nice coat of Pam over everything.
Yeah. And it tastes good too.
Obviously.
It doesn't taste like that. Anything you've got the condom flavored.
Yeah, and there's no sugar in these because you don't buy sugar products to put in your woo-woo.
Right.
Because it could cause a yeast infection.
Right.
Sugar feeds yeast, so you don't do that.
Right.
So these don't have any sugar in them. Plus, if your husband's diabetic, it's okay. He can lick away.
Neat.
And this one's interesting because this is the cool mint.
Oh.
So you put on that and you get a nice little tingle.
Oh, wow.
The other thing I want to show you here is from the grocery store. No, not the grocery store.
Some of the grocery stores now are having pharmacies.
Well, yeah, the pharmacy. And this is the Kama Sutra Lover's Starter Travel Kit. And I recommend this to everybody. It's a really nice little case. You can hear me undoing the zipper.
Yeah, it looks like a little makeup bag.
Yeah, and you can take it on vacation and nothing's over and out, so the airport isn't going to be upset.
Right.
You notice what you get here? You get get a little tickler feather.
It's like great for a travel weekend or something.
Yes, and you get honey dust.
Okay.
Which is edible body powder.
Yes.
Okay, now
I've licked honey
the
dust
blessing of honey dust is it is also great as a moisture barrier. On a very hot sunny day when you could be sweating to death, you can put this in all your regions, under your breasts, in your nethers.
Okay.
All the places where you might get a little moist and cracky.
Yeah.
And that's perfect for that.
Okay.
The other thing we have here is the edible body cream. And then we got this nice little lover's oil here, and this is the one that heats up.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
And
that goes right on your clit, right? Or right on the penis?
Yes.
You said clit.
Yeah,
Anyways.
I said clit.
Anyways.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're looking at the...
Yeah, because if we go into another 5 minutes, guess who's paying?
Yeah.
No.
Wow, it is. It's like a perfect little... And you said you got it at a drugstore.
You can get it at the local drugstore, yep.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, so you got everything there in your little arsenal to get things going.
Yes, no kidding. Going and coming.
Well, you want to be
coming and going
often.
and going. Yeah, coming and going.
You got to be coming often.
Yes. Well, Amy, I want to really, really thank you. I'm sure, there's probably so many. Would you come back again sometime?
Oh, maybe.
I would love it because I'm sure the stories that you've got to tell. We just touched the tip of the iceberg. And look at that. She's whipping around her whip in the studio. Oh, we're going to have fun after the show tonight. I want to thank my listeners.
Beware.
Of course.
Beware.
Yes,
Gary.
and thank you for listening to Sex by Hazzard on realityradio101.com. And remember, do your part for world peace and have an orgasm tonight. Thank you.
You've been listening to Sex by Hazzard with your host, Jen Hazzard, right here, Reality Radio 101. Coming up, it's the best pop and rock music ever recorded right here, Reality Radio 101.